welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do one of those here's my camera collection videos because I've seen several of them online and I think they're just really fun and I like seeing what everybody else has in their collection. These aren't all my cameras, but these are some of the ones that I use more than others. And as you can see, it's quite a lot. So let's start with the very first film camera I ever had, which is the Fujica STX1. I bet a lot of you haven't even heard of this. I got this in high school when I signed up for darkroom class with my friend just because she did, basically. And I came home and I said to my parents, oh, I signed up for this class and by the way, I need a camera. Thinking, they'd have to buy me one or something like that, or they would be like, what's going on? We didn't even know you signed up for this class. And my dad goes, oh, I have one. So he digs out of the closet this Fujica STX1 and off I went. And, then I went to college and was busy being a college athlete and everything like that. So kind of forgot about it, came home from college. And anyways, when I got back into photography, I picked this back up. And I love this camera. It's still my go-to recommendation for someone who's just getting into film and they're saying, hey, what camera should I get? It's super simple. It's almost exactly like the Pentax K1000, except I think it's better. And it's going to be less expensive because it's not a Pentax. But I think that's better. So the Fujica STX1 is my first camera and I love it, and it's taken some of my favorite images, and I'll see if I can dig some up and post them in here for you. Okay, next we have the Nikon F100, and I shoot Nikon for my digital work, so having an F100 just made a lot of sense to me, or having other Nikon cameras, I guess, made a lot of sense to me because I still have a lot of f-mount lenses. Even though I shoot mirrorless, I have the adapter now, and so I do have a lot of those f-mount lenses that I can just use for these film cameras. So the F100 I love. Everybody raves about the F4, the F5, the F6, but those are just too big for me. So I love the F100. It's a little bit smaller. It still can be kind of heavy when you pop, like your 24 millimeter or something on there, but I love it. Okay, moving on, we have the Nikon N60. And again, this is another Nikon. It's going to be less expensive than the F100. And every brand sort of has this sort of plasticky body 90s model. So Canon has theirs, Minolta has theirs, they all have them. And I wouldn't, look past these. If you're looking for a camera with all the modern comforts, but still shoots manual, it's light. Don't hesitate to kind of look into these. They really do produce great images. So I have several of them because I do love them and they're easy to toss in a bag. I'm not worried about them getting broken because they are less expensive. And so they have their whole series. They have the N55, the N60, the N65, the N70, 75, 80, and then the 90. And there's loyal followers of each one. They're all pretty much very similar. I just happen to have several N60s. Okay, so now we have the Nikon FG, which I love. It's a little more modern than the Fujica STX1, and it has that chrome and black body, and it has, an automatic setting and a program setting, kind of similar to the Canon 8E1. Everyone loves the Canon 8E1. I have one. I didn't put it out because I think I let someone borrow it or whatever. Anyways, I prefer this. It's slightly smaller bodies, so it can fit better into a bag or something like that. It's a teensy bit lighter. I just prefer it. It's kind of like just a vibe, it's not necessarily anything's wrong with the Canon 8E1. I do just love the Nikon FG. This is the Nikon F2. I haven't shot this yet, but I am excited about it. It has the 1.4 50 millimeter lens on it. So I can't really say much about this one yet, other than it's kind of, a big name in the industry. I also have the FE right here, which I haven't shot yet either. So I will be looking forward to shooting these two and seeing how I like them. Okay, quick little jump into medium format. I have a Holga, obviously, just because I feel like everyone has to have one. If you don't like the Holga and you haven't shot it with flash yet, I would say give it a go with flash, because I'll just put like a Canon 177A, one of the Canon little flashes on here, and just pop a little direct flash on it, and I love it. So if you haven't tried the Holga with flash, I would recommend trying it with flash before you completely give up on it. Okay, of course, I have a Pentax 645N. I use it a lot for weddings, portraits. This one has a tripod mount on it currently because I will just pop it on the tripod really quick and just take a family photo in the front yard. I love it. I have the 75mm lens on here, and I've never used any other lens. I think it's a great focal length. It's kind of like the 50mm-ish, on 35. It's kind of the feeling it gives me. Can't go wrong with the 645N. Okay, so my recent rabbit hole with cameras is folding cameras. I got a couple of them in a camera bundle that I didn't really want them, but they came, and of course I'm going to look into them. And they're just so fun because these are medium format cameras. They're a lot older, but they fold up. I can figure out how. So they fold up and they're just so compact. It's not going to have a light meter. It's not going to have autofocus or anything like that. It's zone focusing. But if you're looking for a really compact medium format camera that's not, the Fuji GW670 or whatever, it's going to cost a lot, look into a folding camera. And they always pop out in a really fun way. So just a second. That pops up, and then it comes out like that. And it has this little rest so that you can rest it like that and display it. This is the other folding camera that I have. It's actually a 35mm folding camera, but as you can see, it's very compact as well. And this one pops open in a super fun way too. And this one has a really fun shutter button. So if you cock the shutter, this little button here is the shutter. So fun. Okay, so another folding camera is this Minox. It's so cute and slim. It's going to be really compact. It doesn't have autofocus or anything like that, but I love it, and it's a really fun little camera to throw in a bag somewhere. Okay, let's jump into instant cameras. So I've used a lot of Instax, and I got this Lomo somehow. I can't remember. I wasn't like seeking it out, but it came to me. And I have to say, I think I like the Lomo cameras better than the just generic Instax. Now, if you're going to get like an Instax 99 or something with more controls, or the Evo, then yes, of course, go with Instax. But just like, the Instax Mini as it is, this has a little more controls. It has multiple exposure. You can increase the exposure or decrease the exposure. You can turn the flash on and off. And I also like it because it has a tripod mount and it has a remote. So you can do a self timer, or you can just click it and take a photo. So you could take a selfie, you could take a group photo, kind of fun for parties, things like that. Okay, and of course I have a Polaroid SX-70. I'm still learning how to get along with this camera. It's super fun, but there's a learning curve. And we'll get there, but I just got to keep using it. It's just hard to get out and be intentional with it when I'm not super confident with it. So hopefully more of this to come this year. Okay, so if you haven't seen one of these, this is the Polaroid One 600. It's super slim. It's much more, compact to fit in a bag or something, and it pops up. This is the last of the 600 cameras that Polaroid made. So it does have a more modern look as opposed to, the traditional SX-70 or 600 that you see over here. And I feel like not as many people use these, but I really like the one that I have. Okay, and of course I have a old school Polaroid 600. I have a newer Polaroid, that I got at Target or something like that. I don't know. I find myself coming back to this one, or this style, just because I feel I just like the pictures better. So even though it's much older and they do make new Polaroid cameras, I find myself reaching for the older ones. Okay, let's go into point and shoots. So I have a bunch of point and shoots, and this one my mom got me at from an estate sale or something, and she just got it for me, and it's huge. It's a brick. It's a Pentax IQZoom date, but this camera has made some of my favorite pictures. Yes, it's kind of big and chunky, but you can still toss it in a bag. You can wear it around your neck. It's not going to be too heavy. It, has a little bit of a zoom, which I never end up using. The flash is really good. So it takes really good indoor candids. I love the way it sounds when it fires. I don't know. There's a lot of good Pentax point and shoots, and just because they're not, used by some influencer or something like that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a really good camera. And if you've never heard of it, sometimes that means it's going to be a lot less expensive. So love this camera. Okay, so this is the Canon AF35 ML, which I love. And I sold the first one that I had, like a dummy. So I had to go searching for them again. By that time, something had happened, and they were now really expensive. So I finally found another one for a great deal again, and it's a 40mm 1.9 lens, which how can you get that, in such a little body? Not a lot of these point and shoots start at like 4.8 for their aperture, and it has a pop-up flash. I love it. It's so cute. So if you have one of these or you get one of these, hold on to it. Okay, this is a teeny tiny little point and shoot, and I love it. This is the Pentax IQZoom 120Mi, and I guess it's a zoom lens. A lot of the point and shoots are, but if you're looking for a really compact point and shoot, this is it. It's got, you can turn off the flash, et cetera, and then I think this one does have bulb mode, which is an interesting feature for a point and shoot, and it just gives you a little bit more control if you want to do fun things. But super tiny, fit in a pocket or a bag really easily. Okay, so another really tiny point and shoot is the Nikon Lite AF. It has a 28mm 3.5 lens, and again, it just has a super slim profile, and you can't really change many of the features besides taking off the flash or something like that, but it's just a really great slim camera to toss in a bag. Okay, so I'm sure you've all heard of the Canon SureShot 85 or some other more popular ones. This is the Canon SureShot 105, and I don't think it gets enough notoriety. It's, again, a pretty compact camera. It's in the Canon SureShot line, which is filled with pretty good cameras. This has a 3.5 lens, which again is a little bit lower than that 4.8 that most of these cameras have, which I don't think a lot of people know. And then has a pop-out flash, which I think is just so fun. Okay, so here we have the Leica Minilux and the Minilux Zoom, and this is the first one I got, the Zoom, because it's traditionally less expensive than the fixed lens version, and I went back and forth on, is it really necessary to have the fixed lens version? Is it that much better? And then this one just stumbled into my life, so I got this one, and I love it. I don't think, that I was missing anything by having the fixed lens version, but then again, this one just presented itself to me, and so I grabbed this one, and they're great. They're both, pretty slim. The lens doesn't stick out terribly far, even on the zoom. And they have metal bodies, and they're just nice to toss into your bag. So these ones I have with me all the time. I take them to weddings for just my point and shoot option. So yeah, can't go wrong with one of these. Okay, so this is the bulk of my camera collection, and I've gone over the cameras, most of them. There are some that I didn't touch on. If you have questions about those, feel free to ask. This collection is always changing, so next year maybe I'll have sold some of these or given them away or traded them in. I feel like, you know, some people ask, what's your favorite camera, or what camera do you recommend, or this and that. But for me, it's kind of like a vibe. Like, you know how you, for women, you have a different purse or bag for different activities. Like you have your going out purse, and you have your, you know, I have my tote bag that I haul around every day because I have kids' things in there. So for me, picking up a camera depends on the day, my mood, what I'm going to be shooting. Am I going to be hiking? Am I going to be swimming? Am I going to be, you know, doing this or that? So I do like having a bunch of different cameras because when the mood strikes. I also usually have, like, this one has film in it, this one has film in it, this one has film in it. You know, my Holga had film in it until yesterday. So the Minox has film in it. So they all just have partially used rolls of film, and I'll pick one up and I'll go, and maybe I'll shoot the rest of the roll, maybe I won't, you know, and then I'll just put it back. Or maybe the kids are doing something at the house and I run and grab the closest camera really quick. So I like having a bunch of different cameras for different needs, different moods. And if you're just picking a camera, if you're just starting and you pick one and you don't love it, that's okay, because I think it is like, it's like a horse and rider. Like, you need to get along. I had a Pentax 6-7 and I was so excited. I got it for a great deal at an estate sale. It worked. And I didn't love it. I tried so hard, but we did not vibe. And that was a couple years ago. So now I'm like, maybe I should get another 6-7 and give it a try again. And I loved holding it. I loved the way it felt. But the focusing system and the pictures that came out, we just didn't vibe. But like I said, you might see me with one again because I'll give it another shot. And I'm not the person I was 2 years ago, right? So me and the camera might get along. But yeah, that is the camera collection for the most part. And maybe I'll do another one this time next year to see if anything's changed. And yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know.